Hey there, once again, Wildcat fans. Welcome back to another LC Coaches Show. As always, I am Brad Welber. Glad to be back with you once again this week. As you can see here to my left, we're joined by our softball coach, Bobby Buchanan, as we talk about last week's season opener doubleheader against Millsaps, and kind of look ahead to what the team's been doing this week as they prepare for a big week next week with a midweek game against Centenary, and then the ASC series opener against ETBU next Friday night right here in Pineville. So let's get into it, Coach. I asked you last week, as you were leading up to the first games, what you thought about, or had you thought about, it's your first coaching experience as a head coach and your first game and that sort of stuff, and you said you hadn't really thought about it too much, but when Friday finally came and we got to the field and you were filling out the lineup card, and it's all started to kind of happen. Did you take a moment to say, "Hey, this is it. This is my first game"? And if you did, what did you think about it? And then leading up to it after that.
I did take a brief moment, but I tried not to think about it too much.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times in our sport we let emotions get the best of us, and so whether if it's for the good or bad, and so I just try to stay as calm as I could and. Just kind of be where my feet were,
Gotcha.
So
talk a little bit about the games a little bit. Obviously, wasn't what we had hoped it would be coming into that game. A couple of losses, 7-1, 9-1 there in the doubleheader. In your opinion, what was the biggest thing? If you look at the stats, they tell you one thing, but as a coach, what did you see from the team?
Well, I guess from even when it came down to pregame preparation and things like that, I felt like we were overconfident at the beginning, and then we had a bunch of mental mistakes that kind of led to, I guess, just a falling of the team. And like I was talking about the emotions, we had 3 seniors who played their last first game, and so in that sense, it's emotional for those people. But as far as the team itself, like I said, I think we came in overconfident, and then we, I think as far as the mental mistakes happening, I think we let things that we couldn't control us. The weather, the umpires, whatever it was, we let those things get to us, and the other team didn't. They're more mentally tough than we were, in my opinion. So.
Well, you started off pretty well in that first game. Your leadoff batter did what any leadoff batter is supposed to. She worked the count, drew a walk, and with Shelby Bergeron, if you didn't catch that, by the way, stole second, stole third, scored on a wild pitch, and I felt like set the tone for what we thought the game was going to turn into, but ended up not going that way. But that was a good start for her, for sure.
Yes, absolutely. And we talked about it last week, applying pressure to the team. We're going to do that. Shelby Bergeron, for the 2 games had 3 stolen bases. Riley Johnston had 3 stolen bases. So we're going to apply pressure, but we didn't apply as much as we wanted, and I think we let some get to us. Which so on the other end. On the defensive end, I don't think we were applying enough pressure to them.
Gotcha.
So,
talk about the pitching staff. I got to see all 3 pitchers in the 2 games. Of course, Savannah got the start. I think she went 4 or 5 innings. Brought Cameron in, and then Lucy got the start in the second game. But so talk about the performance as a whole, and then I guess maybe focus in on about Cameron, because that was really her first time to pitch for LC, and I thought she pitched pretty well.
Yeah. So Savannah starting the game. She actually had more strikeouts this year than she did last year against Millsaps. So as far as our pitchers manufacturing outs, I think they did their job. As far as the defense manufacturing outs, I don't think we did. And so from that perspective, it looks good, because I think defensively we're a much better team than what we showed. So if our pitchers can pitch like that, I think we're going to be just fine. And Lucy, I don't think she did a bad job either necessarily. I think there was, I think she gave up a couple hits, and we talked about this as well. And she's like, "Yeah, coach, I left that pitch fat."
Yeah.
And but not everyone was like that. There was errors that added to that. And so, I don't think she did a bad job either, and Cameron did a very good job for us as well. And so I think, in combination of those 3 pitchers, we're going to be able to to win some ball games.
Yeah,
so.
Cameron came in that first game and got the next, the four batters that she faced, she got them out on easy little ground balls. So it was definitely a good start for her.
And I think that's going to be her bread and butter is, keeping people off balance. We're going to get a bunch of rollovers. We're going to get some pop-ups, and those got to be outs for us.
Right.
So
talk about the approach this week. Obviously, it's been kind of crazy with the weather and the rain and all that sort of stuff, playing a factor in getting the practices in that you would want. But you mentioned the mental aspect of why you didn't think the team played very well last week. So how do you approach that this week and try to maybe refocus the team or a few players here or there to get them ready for what it will be a tough midweek doubleheader against Centenary and, of course, the big matchup with ETBU next Friday?
I think as much as, the rain is going to inhibit us from practicing, I think it's going to prepare us mentally more than anything because, once again, this is something we can't control.
Right.
And so if we can work around things that we can't control and we can do the most that we can in things that we can't control, we're going to be a better team.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you hear the old adage all the time, it pops up every now and then, 90% of baseball, softball is half mental. So, being able to adjust, your mindset when you're maybe not able to do so on the field, I think will be a good start for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll get into some more specifics about maybe ETBU next week. Of course, we'll play Centenary on Tuesday, hopefully, if the rain and weather doesn't have any factors there. It certainly could. It's supposed to rain like 70 inches or something this weekend.
Yeah.
That's an exaggeration, but you get what I'm saying. But keep it locked to the website, the Twitter, and the Facebook and everything in case there are any changes with regards to the schedule and all that sort of stuff. And be sure to stay up to date on LC softball and how they're doing throughout the season. So it's LC_SFT ball, softball on Twitter. They have a Facebook page, of course, the Wildcats, LCWildcats.net. Online, our Facebook, and it's going to be there. It's going to be
Absolutely.
There, so. Thanks so much for watching. Once again, I'm Brad Welburn for Bobby T. Buchanan. We'll see you next time.